Hey guys, Brandon Willem, CCM Magazine. Today we are here in the CCM Cafe with Jaime Jamgochian. How are you?
Great to be here again, Brandon.
Good. So another big week for you.
Can't
Got an
believe
album
it.
coming out in just a few days. Sacred Surrender out this Friday.
This Friday.
First album in 4 years.
4 years, 7th album total.
That's a lot.
I'm getting old.
So you co-wrote every song on this one too. A lot of collaborations. Talk about some of these collaborations that folks are going to hear when they get this on their playlist. On Friday.
I don't know how that happened. I think a lot of the co-writes were literally singing the demo, and I'm like, Ben from Citizen Way, who I wrote it with, you sound amazing on this. Will you sing it with me? And then Todd from Selah, I wrote a song called Our Father with him, and he got on that demo mic, and it brought it to another level. So then we're like, why don't we get all of Selah? There's this more Southern gospel kind of tune called If God Wrote a Song, and Joseph Habedank is featured on that, and he's become a dear friend. Same with, really wanted a worship leader for my church on one of them, so there's this worship song that I led when I first came to Christ 20 plus years ago, and it's called Visions, and so the worship leader from the Belonging Co., Andrew Holt, he's singing on that one. So we just have all these collabs, and then Ginny Owens on By Heart, who she's been a friend for years and years and years. So it's just felt like God brought everyone kind of together for a project I never even intended to have all these collabs on.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So people have got to hear some of the tracks already, but when they get the full album on Friday, they get to go through the whole playlist there. After they've heard all the songs, which one you want to make sure they go back and maybe give 2 or 3 more listens to?
Well, the one that I love the most and would love them to do that too is the total structured song. It's 10 minutes.
Oh, wow.
It's flowy. We literally went into the studio, and the vision for it's the title track, Sacred Surrender. The vision for it was if people came over to my home, sitting in my living room, I'm behind my piano, they've got their hot tea, and we're just worshiping, and I'm pouring my heart out. And I love to minister. I love to minister to people, so there's just some really beautiful ministry moments on it where I start praying for different things, like people who battle Lyme disease, something I've walked through, or people who are struggling with cancer, or so there's like these moments where it's like flowy and singing, and then I'm just praying and speaking words of life out, and it's a real special song to me. They literally hit record, and then an hour later, the producer kind of did his magic. You know, they slice and dice, and then 6 strings came in. So an hour later, the strings pull up, and they just added these layers of gorgeous melodies and harmonies, and I was bawling. It's probably the most special song I've ever been a part of. And it's spontaneous. It's like, we didn't even write it. It's just all straight from heaven.
And it's 10 minutes long, so when they watch it on YouTube, they're going to get plenty of ads, and you might actually make a little bit of money off that song.
Wouldn't that be nice?
So you talk about the Lyme disease. 4 years ago, we're all battling a lot. We're right in the middle of a pandemic. You are just coming out of the battle with Lyme disease at that time. How does the songwriting on this album reflect kind of having all that in the past, and you can concentrate on being a singer-songwriter now and not all the issues you were having back when you were writing the last album?
Yeah, it's been so neat. I mean, I feel like this album is like a victory album in some ways, but I also really still want to be there for people who are going through it, who are in the valley, who are struggling, who are dealing with health stuff, because I know what that's like, and I still battle some things with it. And it's just been refreshing, though, to like walk into a writing room and say, I feel like this is what we're supposed to sing about. And each co-write was surrender. Like, it's just been this major theme in my life, in my heart. I don't know if it's that I'm getting older. The older I get, the more I realize the posture I believe God just wants from us is this. And open-handed and open-hearted. And whether things do come true, dreams, prayers, or they don't, like if we're surrendered, we trust that He knows what's best. And so each co-write felt like that was the theme, and not so much the health stuff, but just living a surrendered life.
Yeah. So over these 7 albums, the industry has evolved in crazy, crazy ways that none of us could have predicted. How different is the album cycle now than what it was however many, we won't say how many years ago, 7 albums ago?
So I signed in 2005 with Centricity Records. I was their first.
Back then, we're listening to albums. They're focused on radio play. Now, people have to beg you to get an actual CD.
It's so different.
And you're worried about playlisting and your playlist position these days.
It's so different. I mean, it used to be like we sent a single to radio and we hoped it would do well, and a few of them did, thank you, Lord, and then a lot of them tanked. And CDs were it. We would go to Lifeway and Family Christian Bookstore and do signings, and people would want your actual CD. Now it's listen to my music on Spotify, please, which for me as an older artist has been a bit of a challenge. Even I'm on tour right now. A lot of the women will come up to my table and just say, I don't have a CD player anymore, but I'm not on Spotify. How do I listen to your music? So I'll send them to YouTube. But it's a different dynamic now. And, you know, these younger artists who I look up to and think are amazing, all they know is streaming and putting out song after song. But I still think there's beauty in, you know, taking a while to really write and to really get the heart of a project and to put out a whole album. I know that's old school, but I also think it's beautiful, and there's ministry for that component as well.
Yeah, back then, 20 years ago, you also don't have social media. That's a new concept that's had to come in. And honestly, looking at your social media, I don't know if you have a big team behind you, but I mean, you do a lot of stuff on there that some of the younger artists don't do. Some of your reels and stuff are pretty creative, and there's a lot of them. So, I mean, you could almost teach a class on social media to some of the younger artists, it seems.
Well, I definitely thank you, because I'm trying to keep up. I have people that, you know how to do the videos and all that, and they just keep saying content, content, content. So I used to dread it, if I'm being honest, and didn't like when different labels were like, post more, post more. But then I started getting DMs and messages about how a song or a clip or a reel ministered to somebody who was maybe thinking, should they take their life, like big crisis kind of things. And I realized, wow, there's purpose and there's ministry to these reels. And so once I reframed it, it brought more life to that kind of a thing.
So with the social media, you're probably reaching completely different audiences that weren't there 20 years, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But you're also probably going back and hearing some more cool pronunciations of the last name that you have. What are some of your favorite pronunciations that people have given you of this last name of yours these past 20 years?
I'm so glad you asked that. My favorite is the Chattanooga Christian radio station. I think it's still around, J103. I'm there. It's like one of the first stations to play me. You know, you're so excited. I'm young. We pulled up. They go to introduce my new single, Jaime Jamgochian. I mean, I can't make it up. And I just went, yes, you know, because I didn't know what to do. And so the label I was on at the time, Centricity, they started sending out to radio, Jam, Go, Shen, like the ocean. So we kind of played around that. But you just can't imagine, I get Jam, Go. Yeah, I mean, everything you can imagine. People get the Jam Go, and then they're lost.
When you go back to the beginning, was there ever a thought that maybe you use a stage name just to avoid all that? But
yeah, I wish I had listened to my team. They begged me. They said, why don't we do your first name and middle name, Jamie Ann? And I was like, no, I need to be authentic and use my real name, you know, the whole thing. So I should have listened. But my website has always been jamiejam.com, because nobody can spell Jamgochian.
Yeah, that is the good thing about having a name like that. You never have to battle people for the social media handles. No matter what new social media comes out, you should have an in to get that handle.
Exactly.
So you're already out there on the road playing some of these new songs, and I'm already seeing fall dates too. So it is a busy year.
Yeah.
What can people expect if they get to see you in their hometown?
Yes, well, for locals, I'm really excited. I'm doing a hometown show in Franklin, Tennessee on April 2nd with all of the guest collabs. It's going to be such a great night. Sayla will be there, Ben from Citizen will be there, producer John Strandell. I mean, it's just a great lineup. So if you're local, come out April 2nd, free show. But my touring schedule's online. I tour quite extensively every spring and every fall right now on a women's event tour called the Aspire Tour. So we're all over the country.
All right. So Friday's the big day. The new album, Sacred Surrender, will be out there. Where can these folks go listen and add this to their playlist?
Ooh, I would love it if people would go to Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, all the streaming places. If you're old school like me, you can still buy the CD. It's available at my website, jamiejam.com. The whole thing with lyrics and the pictures and the credits like we used to do. But yeah, streaming platforms are a great way to just help get the music out.
Yeah.